Okay, today we are tackling this room, and it is a adjoining room that has been wallpapered, a semi-detached property, and this is their lounge, and the fireplace wall is actually connected to the neighbouring house, and they get a little bit of noise, a little bit of through noise. So what we were doing today, we're going to strip all the wallpaper off. You can see we're fixing a new plasterboard ceiling over their original, and we're going to stick some fantastic silent acoustic board to either side of the fireplace. So we're going to get the ceiling plasterboarded first. You can see Chris, Plasteringguru, cutting it there. And now this is the wonderful silent board. So it's about 30mm thick, and you can see there's a layer of foam rubber, and then your 15mm of acoustic soundboard as well. And the process on these ones, we're going to glue them to either side of the fireplace. So we're mixing up some lovely adhesive. Now with this, you don't want to dab these in your traditional method. It wants a full bed of adhesive on the wall. Very similar to if you were tiling the wall, because what can happen, individual dabs, each one of those dabs is then a gateway for noise to travel through. So the way to avoid that is to put a full bed of adhesive on the entire wall. And you'll see just in a moment. Now, as always, preparing the tools, always wet your tools down before using them. This isn't me being fussy or fancy, there is an actual reason. And the adhesive, this helps stop the adhesive drying and sticking and tearing to all your tools too quickly. So there's a very good reason for this. Lovely bucket scoop there from the EWI store. Brilliant tool. So this bed of adhesive I'm putting on, I want it to go on about 10mm thick is what I'm aiming for here. So you can see me applying it quite generously there. And then we're going to get it on, and what I'm going to use to rule this off, I'm going to get a coat over it. And I want to do enough to do maybe 1 or 2 boards at a time. You don't want to do the entire wall fully with adhesive, because by the time you've got the boards on, the adhesive might start to dry. So I'll do the bottom half, then I'll rule it off with a notched straight edge. So this is a 10mm notched straight edge, and that is going to give me the ideal depth, and the walls I'm backing onto are actually pretty good. So I was able to just go straight over these ones, and then that will give me a lovely gauge to stick these wonderful silent boards on. They are very heavy, deceptively heavy. Off the top of my head, I think they're at least about 35 kilograms. So they are quite heavy boards. I'm going to start with one in the corner. Also, when sticking the boards on, the very first board wants to be about 10mm or so off the ground. It doesn't want to be touching the ground, because of course if the board itself is on the ground, the sound will travel through that board, so effectively bypassing your acoustic panelling. And cut these, still use a Stanley, but you want to cut both sides and thoroughly. So you cut the rubber side, you want to probably cut it 4 or 5 times with a sharp blade, and then score the front of the board as well. I like to give it a good couple of cuts, and then it will snap. Very similar to plasterboard. I'll pull that carpet back as well. They are actually having the carpet fully replaced, but in the meantime, protect it. And they squidge in there. Also in this step is acoustic sealant, which is applied in between all the joints and all the edges. So I've added acoustic sealant in between all the joints there, you can see, and all around the edges. Then finally, the next day, or once the adhesive is fully hardened, you want to mechanically fix the boards to the masonry just as a precautionary measure, because these boards are quite weighty, as I mentioned. So just to give them an extra bite, I've put in here 4. Their window frame fixings are ideal. That's 4 mechanical fixings per board, and that will ensure that they are not going anywhere. And now that is ready to plaster, and away you go. Hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching. Complete loft insulation upgrade from start to finish. You can see here the loft as we found it: old, lightweight floorboards, the kind you often see from Wicks or B&Q, and unfortunately a lot of them were damaged and very much past their best. The insulation underneath was also very tired and no longer doing its proper job. So the very first thing we did was to fully clear out the loft. Everything came out, so we removed all the old floorboards and completely vacuumed out the existing insulation, including in between the joists and rafters. Now this is really important because it gives us a clean blank canvas and lets us do the job properly from the ground up. Now once everything was vacuumed and cleaned up, we installed a full vapor barrier membrane across the entire loft floor. This really helps control moisture movement from the house below and protects the new insulation long term. After that, we fitted fresh 100mm layer of insulation between the original ceiling joists. Now because everything was properly cleaned beforehand, the insulation sits perfectly, and it also means that if any ceiling repairs are ever needed in the future, this insulation won't be disturbed. Now, with all this vapor barrier and first insulation layer completed, we then upgraded the loft floor structure itself. Now, with this, we installed a new 170mm deep timbers across the whole loft to create the additional height needed for a secondary layer of insulation. Now this allowed us to install a further 170mm of thermal insulation on top, bringing the total insulation thickness up to 270mm. Now that brings the loft fully up to current building regulation standards in 2025 and massively improves the thermal performance of the property. And finally, we installed full-size 2.4 by 600 moisture-resistant loft floorboards throughout the entire area. These boards are specifically designed for lofts, giving a strong, safe, long-lasting floor. Now you'll notice we've worked neatly around the existing water tank. The customer isn't changing that at this stage, so we've accommodated it within the new layout. Now, although this floor is actually suitable as a base for future loft conversions, in this case the customer simply wanted a solid floor, safe, reliable storage space, and that is exactly what they now have. Now you can see some of the before and afters. Now this is a huge upgrade that dramatically improves the insulation, comfort and energy efficiency of this very old property, well over 100 years old, this property. Now this isn't our usual type of project, but if a customer needs help and we're able to do it properly, we will always step in, and the homeowner was extremely grateful, and we were also able to repair and repaint all of the external render on the property as well. And here are all our bits, nice and cosy. Insulation over there, ready to fix insulation to this lovely gable end. You can use hammer fixings or standard raw plugs. Make sure you use stainless steel, although it will be covered. Otherwise work, but I like plastic insulation fixings. They're my favourite. So, double check this level. This is a lovely rock hard wall, so it is securing very nicely.
Excellent.
Wonderbar.
Oh yeah, Dan, the David Lloyd thing, you can put it on your, you know, it's in your wallet, it goes on your phone, sorry, my watch, so it's so much easier that way. And just, because I take a watch anyway, that's where I got the car.
Oh yes.
Well done.
I bet that is. We are fixing insulation to this wall, 50mm insulation to increase its thermal value, as this is a cold wall. The first thing we do is attach starter tracks. So this is half of it. So we're running it just in line with the lead, you can see there, and then we're going to continue it all the way along there, like so. And then the insulation, although the insulation will be glued with adhesive over the wall and mechanically fixed as well, it will also sit on here, which gives you a very nice, neat finish underneath as well. So the starter track is fixed. You can see it just runs along the bottom for the insulation boards to sit on. And we are just starting, going to fix the boards. We are using 50mm EPS insulation boards. Their standard size are 600 by 900 is the size, and that will be glued and mechanically fixed with 5 fixings per board. So first we mark out the wall. We want them staggered, and you don't want any straight lines on your stress points in any of the corners, ideally. So you don't want a straight line there, you want the board to overlap. Same here, you want the board to overlap. You cut it to size, obviously, and the same there. And you stagger it in brick formation, and that will help reduce cracking. The starter track has 2 parts. Second part, and it's fixed in here. And that can fit anywhere from, this particular one is 50mm insulation all the way up to 90. You can see it slides in and out. Nothing in there. By the time it's got the adhesive on, I'll just push it back a bit. So, we are now at a watertight stage of my very own extension. And also, I've got a great new bit of kit this week as well. It is a thermal imaging camera, and I'm going to tell you why it is a game changer for plastering, rendering, insulation, and the building trade in general. Now, because we still haven't plastered yet, this is the perfect opportunity to show you something called thermal bridging. So you see that blue perimeter, the window? That is basically your thermal bridging. And you can see on this steel here, all above the door, you're basically heating outside. Bearing in mind, obviously this isn't insulated yet. They are the large bifold doors. Yes, you will get heat loss on the windows themselves and the doors, but if you notice there, on the bottom of the steel, all that dark blue, that is all thermal bridging. So this highlights the crucial importance of putting thermal insulated backed plasterboard on that head reveal, and that will eliminate that issue. Again, if you notice on around this door, the head there, you can see very clearly the thermal bridging that is going on at the top there, i.e. cold just leaking straight outside, and that is a very high risk for condensation, which then leads to black spots and mould. Now, this is why we've added thermal imaging. It takes the guesswork out of what you're doing. It also shows genuine proof for myself, for customers' peace of mind. It's just an amazing tool that takes the guesswork out of the trade. And by using thermal imaging as well, we can prove we're not just prettying over your walls, we're actually enhancing your property and increasing thermal value as a genuine high quality plasterer and